we are discussing about the client administration part. As part of the client administration, we discussed about the how to create the client, how to create the new client. So using the SEC4 transaction code, we will create the client, right? Then after the client creation is done, then what next? We have to log into the newly created client. If we go to the SEC4, we will come to know how many clients are created here, right? We will come to know the list of things here, right? These all are the clients got created in the SAP system here. Then to log into the newly created client, we have to we have to change the one parameters here. One parameter we have to change it. So here, what is this parameters means? The profiles and parameters. Profiles and the parameters concept here. So in the system, if you want to change any parameters means it kind of a settings, system settings here. Suppose when you build a new system, you will get the default settings, SAP recommended settings, default things. Example, when you purchase a new mobile, you will get the default theme, default wallpapers, ringtone, music, and all the default settings. You will get it out. Default font, recommended. That is the company recommended settings and everything. So you will get it out. But we will change it, right? Immediately you got the phone, so immediately you will change it to the your own logo, your own theme, your own ringtone, your own things, everything you will customize it. That is called the customization, right? You will do it everything because of so the standard things you don't like it, right? So then we will change it same as like SAP. To change that one, what you do, you need to go to the maybe your phone, then settings tab. In the settings you will adjustment it, right? So here also in the SAP, to do this kind of settings changes, then we have to go to the profiles and parameters concept here. Here they are here we have there are the two types of profiles are available here. In the parameters inside of the profiles, parameters are available here. There are the two types of profiles here. So why? Because we have the two instances will be created, right? There are the two types of profiles here. One is the default profile. Default profile. The second one is the instance profile. Second one is the instance profile. Default profile and instance profile. So default profile contains default, the common, all the common means default settings related things like every user, there is a English language, then host name, SID. These are the default settings. So those default things will be in the default profile. All the default parameters, all default parameters in so default profile in default profile here, right? So if you go to the instance profile, there are the two types of instances here, right? When you install the SAP, there are the two types of instances. One is the ASCS instance, second one is the application server instance. ASCS and application server instance here. ASCS ASCS means so your message server, NQ server. So your message server, NQ server related settings will be in the ASCS profile. Remaining application server profiles will be in the PaaS instance here, primary application server here, right? Suppose application server, if you want to do some change, application server, what will be there? Application server, you have the dispatcher. Application server, you have the ICM. Application server, you have the IGS. Application server, you have the work process. These things are there. If you want to do some changes about the process, then you need to do some parameter changes in this profile. So message server, NQ related these things, but default related things all will be in the default profile here, right? So sir, where to change it here? In SAP, there are the two transaction code to change these profiles, RG10, RG11. So RG10 is for the static profiles. Static means static parameter. All the static parameters will be in the here. So if you change the if you change the parameter, if you change parameter here, then you need to restart. You need to restart it here. If you change parameter, then you need to restart the system. Then only the value will be affected. The value will be affected here. You need to restart, and the changes are permanent changes here. The permanent changes here. Okay. So, but if you change the parameters in the here, the start dynamic, then these are the dynamic parameters. Dynamic parameters means online, on fly, it will be affected here. But so no need to restart it. If you change it, no need to restart the system. No need to restart the system. Changes will be affected immediately. Reverse order, right? And also it's a temporary changes only. If you restart it, the changes will be gone. Okay. So static parameters and dynamic parameters here, right? Sir, how can I know which parameters are static and which parameters are dynamic? And also how to change in RG10 and RG11, right? So log into the SAP level, go to the RG10 parameter, RG10 transaction code. Someone is already logged in with the profiles. Hmm, this is the guy. Oh, many users are connected. See, 21 users are connected. Someone is already logged in. Someone is already logged in with the, so for that they are already using this session, RG10 session, right? So let me delete that session. Done. Okay, 19 users. So then if you go to the RG10 users, RG10, then just you can go to the profile. So see here, they are the default profile, instance profile. Instance profiles are the two. One is the ASS and second one is the application server related profile. Right? Default profile contains the go to the extended maintenance. These all are the settings. Okay. Don't touch these things, two things. Extended maintenance contains the so the actual values of the your parameter. So here, so fails to user lock. So there is a parameter DB host, default host. Then these all are the default. Why? Because this is a default parameter. All are the DB SID, DB host name, database port numbers. All are the default. Default things are there here, right? That is the one here. Then if you go to the instance profile, application server profile, so it's not matching in use. So here we have to import the profile to match the version, exact version. So here you see here dialog work processor 7 are there. Then these are the 4. So sir, I don't want to 7. What the 7 are doing? I can make it 4. Then yes, 4 we can make it. BTC 4. So like the parameter, this is the parameter. The parameters are there in the profiles, right? So rdisk slash wp underscore nvo underscore dia. Dia means dialog work process. Nvo underscore BTC work process. So these parameters will define. These parameters will define. So the runtime of the how many number of work process you have here. Suppose this is a max work process runtime, only the 500 seconds, right? 500 seconds. Then I want to change it to the 600 seconds or 600 seconds. Then you can just change the value of the parameter, then go back, then copy. 2 times you need to copy, go back and save back and activate. Save and activate. The parameter is saved and activated. Then, so in the affecting of the parameter, the profile take the restart of the application server. You have to do the restart of the application server. Why? Because you have done the changes in the RG10 transaction code. You have done the transaction in the RG10. So you need to restart the application server here. Then only the value will be affected here. Right? Suppose here you changed the value to the 4, right? So now how many dialogues are there here in the system? So if you go to the NW1, suppose let's take the NW1. NW1 we have, so NW1 we have the actually originally 4 only, but someone changed it. If they restart it, the value will be affected. But we have not done the restart. Someone just normally they have changed it here, right? We can change it. We can decrease and we can increase it like this. Suppose to log into the new same concept, you can change the any parameter value. Any parameter values you can change it. Sir, the parameter value I am looking here, only few are there. I am looking for more means just go to the parameters here, go to the change value, create the parameter. Then here you can just, if you remember the parameter name, you can enter it. If you don't remember, just click on the browse. There the so thousands of parameters are here. Then you can just enter the parameter. If you know the some naming convention, some login slash, so then the values will be affect the values, the real parameter values will be displayed here. The parameter, all the values will be displayed here. So suppose you want to fail to user unlock, auto unlock. Suppose if any user got locked, suppose like enable the automatic unlock of the locked user at midnight. At midnight, automatically the user will be unlocked. Then which users you want to do that one? Suppose like basis user, just value is the basis user, comma DDIC user. So this user should be unlocked automatically. Then copy this parameter values here, right? Just use change the value, then copy, then two times you need to copy, go back, save, and you need to activate, save and activate it here. So then, so the value will be affected. You have to restart the application server. Until then, it will not be affected here. Till then, it will not be affected here. So this way, we can restrict it here. So the profiles and parameters concept will restrict the usage, will restrict the usage here. It will restrict the usage here. It will restrict the usage here, right? So just yeah. So it's restrict. So these parameters will control the entire system behavior. Okay. Suppose if you do some changes here, so if you do some mistakes also, system will be corrupted. System will not be started. So that is the main thing here, right? So these parameters will control the entire system responses and everything here. So carefully we need to change this parameter values and everything. Sir, who will tell us these parameters are here? There are the lakhs of parameters, then hundreds of parameters are there, thousands of, how can I remember, sir? So means you no need to remember the parameters here. At least some parameters you need to remember. So then you should know only about the how to change the values of the parameters, right? In RG10, you have to change it. Then you need to activate it and you need to restart the system. But don't restart the system when the users are in the active. Suppose, see example here. Now in the NW1 system, there the 20 users are logged in. They are working on the multiple sessions and multiple things. They are working on the systems. Suppose if I do the restarts, what will happen? If I do the restart, all will be disconnected, right? All will be disconnected here. Then, so if they are doing some important activities, important transactions, suppose this is a training. So training users, right? They won't do any transactions, but real time, real users will do the transaction. If you do the restarts, so the transactions will be impacted. So that is the main reason here. So carefully, we need to plan for the restart. Let's see in the ECD system. So how many users are there? So let's see, let's go to the here, let's go to the AL08. So here only less users are there. Less users are there. That's fine then. Actually, less users are there. So someone using the OS application, then someone HTMS import and SCCL local client copies they are doing, and some things they are using some transactions here, right? So then what we can do, suppose here also same, any SAP system, it's a common thing, like you need to change the parameters here. You need to change the value of the value of the parameters and everything here. Here also people will maintain the 7 dialog work process here, right? So it's not required. 7 is not required. So we can reduce it. So we can also reduce this parameter values and everything. We can do that one here. That's possible here. Here we can change the values here. That's possible. So right, we can reduce the value, not only dialog, any buffer parameters, any system settings you want to change it here, you can do the changes here. Here you can see only one is there, dialog work process, remaining all are the BTC. So someone doing something wrong in the systems, that I can show. So there are some operation modes. There are only one something like that they have configured. It's very wrong. Yeah, that's fine. So that's fine. That later we can test the we can check it out. Yeah, this way we can change the values of the system parameters here. So whenever you are starting the SAP system or restarting the system, SAP system always look the this parameter values what is mentioned in these files. What is mentioned in these files, it will look the all the values here. It will look the all the values what is mentioned here. So based upon these values only, your system will be started. Based upon your values only, system will be started here, right? So at the same time, we are discussing about the client copies, right? So client administration. So for the newly created client, we don't have any user, right? For login to the newly created client, we don't have any user here. Then what next? Then emergency user activation, we have to do that one. Emergency user means SAP star, the password is common for everywhere. That is the pass. Then how can I activate means there is a parameter login slash no underscore automatic underscore user underscore SAP star equals to 0. It will be by default, it will be the one means it's a false. Then we have to make it to the true. Then only people can log into the newly created client here. Then I will go to the here maybe in the default. Why? Because this is a default setting for the all the clients. Then you can change it, go to the parameter, then put it here. Then there is a zero value. Previously it was one, now it's a zero. Then again just one is there, then you can make it to the zero, then copy back, copy, go back, then save, activated. Save and activated, then your value, you have to restart the your application server. Then what you have to do, you need to restart the application server. You need to restart the application server here. So then restart the application server. Then how can we do the restart the application server? Then right click on the SAD, then restart, right? Right click on the SAD, then restart. Then your SAP system will be restarted here. SAP system will be restarted. Right click and restart. So, but check it out. Users are there. If you do the restart, all the sessions will be disconnected. But only we are there. But that's why they will reconnect it, especially for the ECD system, they will reconnect it. Especially NW1, where the more users are there, they can reconnect it here. So then just click on the refresh button, system will be stopped, system will stop it now. It's running from the 31st onwards, it's running. See, dispatcher is down. System is shut down here. So ASCS also will be down. Started now. So now application servers are starting now here. So application servers are starting now. So if something memory issue, definitely it won't start then. Dispatcher will go down. In case of if any memory issues, so it won't start then. Immediately it will go down because of the memory issue. Yeah, it's not starting. See, dispatcher will go down. See, dispatcher stopped. So due to some memory issues, so system is not starting up. System is not starting up now. See, it's down. So let me see what. Let's try to reduce the work process to below. Let's see. So we can also change it to operating system level, and that you will get in the next class. And W1 ADM. So what I'm doing with the ECD system, sys profile, here default profile, instance profile. Here the people are mentioned like seven dialog work process. I can make it to the 4, then 3. That's fine actually. 7 3. So you can just restart. Only
Sir,
one
if it is high here, so we have to reduce work work process.
is a high, then definitely there is a memory issue. If it is a low, then less memory it will use it here. So we can reduce it or we can increase it also. So that's how depends upon the our use case. The training system, right? Not much real users. That's why what we are doing, we are reducing it here. So even though it is not starting, see, even though if you start it, it's not starting at ECD system is not starting up because of the
Sir, yesterday I sent one screenshots, right? So this is one of the reason, and that's how we are come here and do the things
one of the reason means what reason? Some
like
memory issues.
background
Yeah,
jobs, right?
some memory issues. Yeah, paging memory issues, memory issues. So sometimes as part of the memory issues, while stopping, while stopping, it's fine. When you're starting, it will come. It will initialize the all the memory areas. Then memory is not sufficient. Then systems it won't start. That's the reason carefully when you are changing the parameters, when you are increasing something, so we need to check the whether the physical memory, the days and everything. We need to cross check everything.
So this is like from the server side starts, right? If it
Yeah,
is not
server side memory we need to check.
okay,
Okay.
the same for background jobs, sir.
Any parameter
Work
value,
process.
RG10, RG11, we have to change it. Anything. Okay. Any system configuration, not specific to the dialog, one parameter, one transaction code, update, we have the one, that's not like that. So any system level changes, we have to perform the changes in the RG10, RG11, we have to do that. We have to perform the changes here. Right? So then RG10, you can change it, restart it, the value will be affected. But we have the RG11 also. Then what is the advantage of the RG11 here? RG11 is the dynamic parameter. No need to restart the system here, but it's only temporary. But all the parameters are not dynamic here. Dynamic means, so suppose like if you take the login slash no automatic SAP star, if you click on the display button, there is no change value, there is no change value to change it. So this is a static parameter. Definitely we have to change it in the RG10 only here. So only few parameters are the, so this is the buffer parameter. Then this is also not no changeable here. So only few things are the changeable in the, few things are changeable in the system. So there is a change value. So we can change it. We can change the value to the here, click on the save button here. This is the dynamic mode. This is the dynamic mode, but changes are the not permanent, will be lost at restart. So yeah, the value is impacted. This parameter, this gateway underscore ACL mode got activated immediately, but the values are not permanent here. It is a lost at server restart. This is the lost here. The change value is lost here, right? That is what it's happened in the system here. So not all the parameters are dynamic. Not all the parameters are dynamic here. Only few are there. Then how can I find out means you need to go to the RG11, put the parameter name, click on the display. If any value is coming, the change value is coming, then that is the dynamic. If the change value is not coming, only display it's coming means that is the static parameter. So this parameters we have to do the changes in the this parameter, we have to perform the changes in the RG11, RG11, RG10. Then would take the so param profile, then go to the here. So then check the parameter name here, then value is there. So then you can change the, suppose you want to increase the value, you want to change the value, then you can do the some changes here like this. You can perform the changes, copy, 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 then go back, copy again, go back, save, activate, save and activate. Then the value will be affected. Then you need to restart the application server. This is what we have to do it in the systems here. This is what we have to do it in the systems here. Right? So that is the so main thing here.
Sir, the similar thing we have to do here only the for GUI sessions open like maximum 6 or maximum more than 8.
Yeah, there is a parameter value. So that parameter we need to find out. So let's find out the parameter value. So just check the GUI sessions. Where is the GUI sessions? If you don't know parameter, just search GUI something like, see what are the parameters for the GUI sessions. So GUI number of GUI sessions might be. So except there is nothing here. Sessions, like let's search by sessions here. Diamond maximum sessions. There is no GUI sessions parameter. So we need to check that parameter. Maybe if you Google it, you will get the parameter name. So that parameter name, maybe let's check here. Parameter in SAP for restrict number of GUI sessions. Restrict number of GUI session numbers. What is this? Max alt modes. What is this? Max alt modes. GUI, restrict the number of GUI sessions. Session numbers. Default 6 dynamically. Okay. So what we can do? This parameter value 6 is there. So we can make it to the 8 or 10 like that. We can change it. Yes. So 8, I changed it. Simple. So it's not like that. You need to remember all the parameters. Just you need to understand the concept. Okay, GUI. So there is a parameter. So definitely we need to search what is that parameter. Then so the value will be impacted after the restarts. So like that we have to do the settings changes in the system, restart it. The same context to log into the newly created client. Why? Because for the newly created client which you created yesterday, you don't have any user. But if you change the parameter value to 0 from a login slash no underscore automatic underscore, the SAP star with pass is enabled here. PASS. Then you can able to log into the newly created client. Sir, how I logged in now? Why? Because only you created the client, not the data. Why? Because users are user management is depends upon the client. Every client, the user management is different, right? So in this client, you have the user, then another client also you need the user. Suppose you want to access to the 100 client, then you need access, you need client in the, so that one also we required here. That is also you required here. That is what you required in the systems here, right? So that is what we got the information. That is what we can check it out. That is what we can check it out in the systems here, right? So now, now you logged into the newly created client. Then what next, right? So same parameter value will will allow you to log into the SAP star with the pass, but without changing, then you cannot log into the newly created client. So that is the reason for every newly created client, you need to make the changes in the login slash no underscore automatic underscore SAP star equals to 0. Then you can able to log in, restart it here. That's why we discussed about the parameters concept here, right? So parameters system configuration changes here, right? So every parameter will have some impact on the system, right? If you badly, if you change it the different ways, then system it won't start sometimes. System it won't start. So then we need to check what changes are done. We need to remove that configurations, and again there is a lot of procedures we need to troubleshoot it here, right? So that is the main thing here. So now since we are in the client administration, so we logged into the newly created client, that is client settings, close, open, that we discussed. So now what next in the client administration, right? So client copies. Sir, why we have to perform the client copies here? Sir, you created, so in the SAP system, one SAP system here, in SAP system you have the 000 client, you have the 001 client, but there is a new client which you created, that is called the 400 client you created, but to log in, you logged into the 400 client in a SAP system. That is fine. So, but with SAP star with pass, but 000, 001 are the master clients. You have the master data or some data is there. Sir, I as of now, even I don't know, then I created some data here. I want to, I need to log into this client and create the same data here? No, not required. So here SAP introduced a client copies concept. Client copies concept here. They are the so client copies. There are the three types of client copies are there. One is the local client copy. Local client copy. The second one is the remote client copy. Remote client copy. So in case of if any requirement from any requirement, so testing purpose, sometimes you may get the request from the functional folks. So perform the client data, client export or client copy from one client to another client here or newly created client. Suppose new client you created, but there is no data, even there are no users as well. Then, sir, how can I transfer the data from one client to another client? So is there any way? Yes. What is the way? Then local client copy. Using the SCCL transaction code, you can perform the local client copy. For this one, you need to log into for the local client copy, you need to log into the newly created client. Newly created client, we have to log in. Sir, how can I log in means with SAP star with pass. With SAP star with pass, newly created client, we have to log in here. Right? With SAP star and pass, we have to log in. Then after that, execute the transaction code SCCL. Then select the client copy profile, which data you want to pull it. Suppose like example, SCCL. Okay. Then go to the SCCL, newly created client. Okay. To perform the client copy, you need to log into the newly created client only. Ensure that you need to log into the newly created client, then SCCL. Then what is the which data you want to transfer? You want to pull. Client copies are the pull mechanisms. Suppose if you need water from the well, you need to pull the water through via bucket. You will pull the water, right? Same as like here. If you need the data from other client, then you need to pull it. You need to log into the target client. You need to go to the target place. You need to pull from source, right? Same as like you logged into the target client, 400 client. Then so what data you want to? Some customers they have the all the data, whatever the data is there in the doubles. So source client, all the data. No, I want only some data. I want only customizing data. I want only users data. I want only user profile. So here the data is separated in the form of client copy profiles. Profiles are there here. So you need to select the profiles here. Then what is the source client here? Which client data you want? Suppose like I want to pull the data from the 001 to 400 client. Which data? Users data you want to pull it here. Then you need to find out the how many users are there in the source client here. Here we have the basis user. They are the number of there the almost like 20 entries are there. 20 users are there here. 20 users are there here. Now we want to pull these 20 users to the 400 client. Then the passwords, users related information will come to the 400 client. Why? Because now in the source client, we don't have any users. In the 400 client, we don't have any users. We are logged into the SAP star only. There are no users here. See, zero. No values found, right? So now what we are going to do, we are going to pull the data from what data? Users and passwords data to the 400 client. So which profile? SAP underscore user profile you selected. Then just schedule as a background job or schedule as a immediately in the dialog mode. If you schedule as a background job, what will happen? There is a background job will be scheduled in the back end so that your all the data will come to here. If you run it in the front end, your screen will be freezed. Why? Because dialog, suppose like if you execute in the dialog mode, what will happen? See, this screen will be freezed like this only until 100% completed. Your screen will be freezed. So you cannot do any other activities. This is in the dialog mode, right? See, in the dialog mode, so all the tables are processing, all the tables data is copying from the so 001 client to 400 client. It is copying here, processing the table, all the data is copying. So it's done. Almost it's done. See, so total 103 tables. Then how much data copied? How much 23 seconds got taken? So it's done. All the data copied. Sir, how can I know all the data copied or not? Then you can check the users here. How many users are created here? See, all the users, 20 entries are there in the NW1 400 client as well. In the NW1 400 client also 220 entries. This is also NW1 001. Why? Because this 001 data we pulled from the this one to here. Here also you have the 20 entries. 20 entries found. 20 users we pulled from the NW1001 to NW1 400 client. 400 client, you pulled the 20 entries here. So now you can log into the NW1 400 client, NW1 400 client with the basis user as well. Why? Because 001 basis user with their password is working. Here also the basis and password is working. Sir, earlier you said like when you create the new client, we will get the empty data, then there are no users. That's why we enabled the SAP star with password. Now you performed the client copy something. Now we got the all the users, whatever the users are there in the source, means 001. We got the all the users. Then how it is possible means that's possible. That's the reason local client copy. Locally you can copy the client data from existing client to the newly created client. So that this is called the local. Local means within the Hyderabad you can copy the data from suppose like Amirpet to suppose like LB Nagar or Miapur within the city, within the system, within the city only you can transfer the data here. You don't require any highway roads, you don't require anything. Just so normal within the system connections are fine. So those connections will be helpful to transfer the data to the target. Target here. That is the main thing here, right? So that is the one thing here, right? So local client copy, locally performing the client data. Sir, you mentioned like we performed the client copy using the front end, you performed it. Sir, what will happen if I perform the client copy in the back end? Back end, if it is happened, then there is a background job will be scheduled. So that is background job will be scheduled. There is a logs will be recorded in the SCC3. So there is a SCC3 transaction code. You can check the logs. Now see, back end job is scheduled. The screen is free now. Then you can go to and here you can check it out. Okay, the our client copy is running now. In the back end, it is running here via background job. There is a background job in SM37. So if you go to here immediately, if you check it out, there is a background job which is running here, client copy 0012 400. So the client copy, the background job is active. Background job is active means there is a one batch process is active. Definitely the batch process is active here. That is completed. That's why batch job is free. Right? In SM37, you see the all the information here. The job is completed here. Right? Whenever the job is completed, immediately the batch work process will become free status here. So that is completed. The data got copied. But if you run it in the dialog mode, what will happen? The screen will be freezed. The screen will be freezed here. The screen will be freezed. We can check the logs in. If we go to the SCC3 transaction code here, we can find out the logs. What happened? The local client copy from 001 to 400 client. How much time it's taken? So 20 milliseconds, 20 seconds. Then how many tables copied? 103 tables are copied. So it's done, right? So then you can check the logs, copy logs. Then you can check the display details logs. All the information we can find out from here. Total number of tables, customizing all the information. We can check it out here. Okay. So this way we can perform the client copies here. Sir, within the system, that is fine. Sir, I was, so maybe there is a requirement. I have the two SAP systems are there. In this SAP system, there is a data. This is a new system. There is no data. Sir, how can I transfer the data from here to here? That is called the remote client copy. That is called the remote client copy. Remotely, you can copy the data from the one system to other system. This is a between two systems, between cities, Hyderabad to Bangalore. But local client copy is the within the Hyderabad, transferring the data from the one place to another place. This is called the local, means you are the local candidate. This is called the remote. Remote, what is required? Local, what is required? Local, just local connections, that will be internal connections are there, so that will take care of. But here local means you need to log into the always, example, always you need to log into the newly created client and pull the data. Client copies are the pull mechanisms, which means if you need the data, suppose like suppose like you have the new, you have created the new 500 client, but you have the data in the 400 client. What you have to do, you need to log into the newly created client. You need to pull the data from here to here. You need to pull it. That is what pull mechanism. Client copies are the pull mechanisms here, right? You need to log into the here, you need to pull it. So to log into the newly created client, SAP star with pass will works. Okay, SAP star with pass will works. So this is the local client copies. Clear? Any doubts? Any questions, anyone?
So you have logged into newly, 400 client. From there, you are connected to SCCM.
Right. So that's what newly created client we have to log in with SAP star with the pass. Then SCCL is the transaction code. Clear? Any questions,
For
anyone?
remote copy, what is the transaction?
Yeah, I will explain it. I will explain it. Don't worry. Yeah.
Oh,
Sir, I have a question not related to here, but the profiles and parameters.
Okay.
Do we can we do the customized profile also apart from the standard?
Customized profiles, you can check it out, but you need to check whether the SAP will
Like what
support or
if
not.
even though if it is customized one, so what kind of a in real time profile we make?
I don't think customized profiles SAP will support it. I don't know any one of the customized profile you configure it here. That should be supported by SAP. So if you have any customized profiles, so what is the profile? What profile you want to customize the profile means what? You know, the one of the example profile.
I don't know, sir. That's what I'm asking you. Like,
Yeah, there are
is
no
it
customized
possible? Like,
profiles. So whatever the profiles are there in
uh,
SAP, those profiles only we have to use it. So some
so
profiles,
standard one.
yeah, based upon the kernel, your profiles will be created actually in the system will be adjusted. So maybe some profiles are not exists or in other systems it exist. Some new profiles are not exist in this system means depends upon the version. Based upon the your SAP version, so then these profiles are not exist. So then you need to update that version and you need to get the new functionalities. That is called the new functionalities. So in that new functionalities, if there are custom profiles also there, that should be certified by SAP. Means SAP should tell us that profiles. Why? Because sometimes what happens, if you define your own profiles you have created, suppose like in RG10, you created your own profile you created, then own profile you created something like that. I don't know what is the profile name also, but here maybe so username something like that you created. But what is the custom profile? I don't know. But you created this one. You define the username something like that. Something.
Like for example, if a uh, user is logged by the administrator, we have to give any message kind of a thing. So don't open this user like.
Restrictions. Yeah, definitely there should be a parameters here. So we need to check if you know the parameter, there is a description here. You need to check that one. So if any that such type of parameters are there, so that SAP will support it. Then we can set that parameter value here. That we can set it out. That parameters we can set it out. There are a lot of parameters. So the one which you are talking, maybe it will exist here. Then we need to check here. So if it is exist, we can change it. If it is not exist, then so SAP will not support that parameter. Sometimes the unwanted parameters means unwanted, unnecessary parameters will cause the system down situation. System will not be started. Some performance issues. That time, if you contact SAP, then who asked you to set this parameter? Is
So
it SAP
before this
parameter
wrap
like
up,
that?
sir, just is it possible this message can be give maybe in your real time? Maybe you have done it. Like if a user, if you want to, like manager said, I want to log this user, and whenever you want to unlock the user, the message should be appear. This user is, like kind of a thing. Is it possible? So don't open or open, and this is restricted by the manager, kind of a message.
The profiles, the roles, yeah, the roles and some authorization side, we can set it out something.
Is it possible, right?
Yeah, it's possible. So some customization or whatever the requirement wise, so it's possible. Yeah, some authorization, security roles, that concept we can create it. Yes, that's possible.
So the concept is in maybe you'll explain later in the class, right?
Maybe authorization concept, security authorization concept, that concept actually.
Okay, then that time I will ask. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so just